Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Orlune podcast. Today I'm joined by the brilliant Saskia, a freelance digital PR specialist who's breaking down everything from landing press coverage to the reality of entrepreneurship. If you're ready for honest insights, practical PR tips and relatable stories about running your own business, this episode is for you. I'm your host Hatty, let's dive straight in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Orlune podcast. I am really excited for this one. I mean, I'm excited for every single one, but this I feel is such an interesting niche and I just want to dive straight in. So hi, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Saskia, why you're here, what you do, and we'll dive straight in.
Yeah, hi, I'm Saskia and I'm a freelancer in digital PR. So basically my main essence of my job is to try and get brands, small businesses in the press. So finding sort of fun, reactive ways to do that, whether that's national or local or sometimes even broadcast. So it's a very fun job. I love it, which is
good. Half the battle.
Yeah.
What's kind of the difference between digital and, I guess, non-digital press? Whenever I think press and PR, I always just think the news, which is in my head kind of always online.
Yeah, it's a question we get a lot, and I can understand it can be quite confusing because they kind of do sort of blend. So the difference is digital is more getting brands noticed online. So it's about building backlinks. So trying to get you published in, say, a national newspaper online and getting them to link back to your website. Whereas traditional is more focused on, especially broadcast. So trying to find maybe TV opportunities, radio opportunities or podcasts. So that's more of a mixture and that's more trying to get you into print publications. So again, it's more about sort of visibility for your brand, whereas digital PR has more of a balance with SEO. So trying to sort of grow and rank your website higher as well. So they kind of are similar. I mean, with digital PR, you can still use that to get into sort of broadcast opportunities, but that's sort of the difference. But I always get asked because I think a lot of people, that's why they never think to invest in digital PR because they never know the difference.
I just assumed it would, like you say, all PR was, I mean, I've been trying to reach out to local newspapers and things like that. And I was like, well, they're online, so it's digital PR.
Yeah, I mean, it's different now, I feel like as well, because a lot of more newspapers are moving on online. So, and especially a lot more publications are seeing the benefits of SEO, which is why, again, I think maybe a lot more brands and digital PR is kind of getting a bit more of a name for itself, I feel like, amongst business owners who might not have known about it. So yeah, that's why it's quite an interesting time now with everyone sort of basing more on SEO and benefits.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like SEO is kind of one of those buzzwords, isn't it? That everyone says they can do it and there's all these SEO hacks and tricks and actually how productive are a lot of them. I guess it's like most marketing, it's one whole strategy that needs to be included.
Definitely. It's like digital PR and SEO work well together and then social media. It all comes together and it's just how you market it all together and come with the right story. So it's definitely a big strategy. Yeah.
And how did you end up in digital PR? I feel like that's something that I see you just don't hear about many people. And you know, I do actually follow one other PR expert on TikTok, and it's just not something that you hear about very often. So what's your background?
So my background, I started off in journalism.
Okay.
I actually, when I went to university, I did a journalism degree, and I had it set in my mind. I was like, I'm going to be a reporter. I want to do broadcast. I want to do radio. I sort of had it in my head. I'm going to be the next Fern Cotter. That's going to be me. And then I got work experience at BBC Radio Nottingham to start with, where I did that for a week. And I then did a bit with Bauer Media, who their one is the greatest hits radio station, so across the UK. So I did a bit with the Yorkshire station, which I enjoyed. But the thing with journalism is it's constant, so you can't shut off, and it changes every day, which can be exciting, but it's also quite full on. So I started to think, I quite like the idea of marketing. How can I veer into that? So I kind of used what I've learned with journalism and I found a graduate role in an agency. So I went in straight to that. And I think from the get-go, I know I loved it. I had such a supportive team, really great management, but mainly I just found how creative you can be with digital PR. It's so exciting because you can change from different industries and come up with so many different ideas. You can think outside the box with it. There's no sort of, they can't pinpoint you down and say, right, you need to just think this or that.
I love that.
You can come up with the most wildest ideas, which is, I think I did that on my first week. I was just going out there and just saying whatever came to mind. This is going to work. And then hoping people were like, yeah, okay.
Let's just try it.
Let's just try it and see. So I loved the fact that one day I'd be coming up with ideas for a finance company. The next day it was a lingerie company. So I feel like anyone who's starting off in digital PR, I feel like agency is such a good place to start, just because you can vary so much with which industries you work and how creative you can be. And I'm so glad I went from journalism into digital PR. I just don't think I could go back.
No. And so it sounds like let's say you worked for an agency first. How long have you been working for yourself then? Is that quite new?
Very new. So I started sort of trying to freelance on the side of my full-time role. So I did go into traditional PR for a bit, and that was with an in-house company. So I started thinking, I quite like the idea of freelancing. It sounds like there's a lot of freedom there, getting to choose who you work with. But I kind of was thinking I need to build it up before I go full-time, because the thought of that and having no clients kind of petrified me. So I started doing that in April, and I was doing that for a couple of months, and I noticed it was picking up quite well. I was getting a few clients in, and then I decided to take the leap in August to go full-time.
Wow. That's quick.
It's been pretty quick. I think also because at the time I was in a bit of a unfortunate position where the workplace I was in, the environment wasn't exactly the most positive environment to be in for a workplace. So it was also kind of doing what I thought would be best for me and protect my mental health, but also doing something I've always really wanted to do, which is work for myself and actually start building a business. So I started that full-time from August, and it has been, I know everyone says it, but it has been such a roller coaster of just never know how else
it never stops.
It never stops. I mean, one minute it could be amazing, the next minute you're scrambling to find work again. So it's sort of, it's just trying to build your business and get yourself known as well. Which marketing myself, I don't know if you found this, but I'm so good at marketing another person and their business. When it comes to me, it's
so different.
And it's so
impossible. And I think especially as a British thing, where we don't naturally brag about ourselves. You know, my fiance will always laugh at me when we go to events. We can be anywhere. We were engaged and we were looking around like wedding and engagement party venues. I pitched to at least one person at every single venue, and he was like, "What are you doing? Like, that's so embarrassing." Like the first few, and after now he's so supportive. And we were like, it's so unnatural for us, I think, but even more so as women, to actually have the confidence to go, actually, I'm really good at this. You said you need help. I'll do it for you. But it's so easy to push someone else out.
Yeah, that is so true. I think especially my thing as well was trying to push myself forward to start posting even just on LinkedIn. And it's weird, like you said, you feel bad or feel awkward and cringe for posting about an achievement you did or something really well, because you almost feel like, well, someone must be cringing at this. Someone must be judging me, thinking, can I actually do this? You know, am I capable? But I also think, like you said, it is sort of predominantly women feel like that. And I think it comes from places we've worked before as well. We tend to be the ones that sort of get sidelined or spoken over in meetings. And I think that all comes through when you start running a business and you start noticing that. And it becomes a thing of trying to market yourself, and you think, all those old kind of thoughts and negativity just come in, and it's annoying, isn't it? Because you feel like you're building that wall for yourself that you just keep hitting, but actually it's always been there. It's just trying to get over it and just put yourself out there more.
100%. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there, like you say, because we are naturally, and it's naturally not in every case, don't need people coming for me, but we are spoken over. And I love, the post where it's like, what's your office act of microfeminism? And people go in like with absolutely outrageous things. And I've taken a few of them. But the biggest one that I find works really well, because I do work, most of my marketing clients for my other business are very male dominated. I work in renewable energy predominantly. Yeah. So if I'm talking, I get spoken over, I used to just stop, which I thought was enough. And then I was like, actually, that's not enough, because that's what they want. So now, and I do find that everyone else gets really embarrassed by it, but it's the ability to not get embarrassed yourself. And I'll go, oh, and go silent. Once they finish, I'll go, are you ready for me to continue what I was saying before you interrupted me to them? They get so uncomfortable. Yeah. And I remember getting a couple of looks from like a CEO, and I was like, have I said anything wrong or rude? Because if I have, I'll happily apologise for that. I don't think that was wrong or rude to ask if you were finished talking over me. And actually, we don't do that enough. If you watch the men, they call each other out. So it's about time we do too.
Yeah, I love that. I need to start using that more. And I think it's so good as well because, like you said, it's so natural for, say, male CEO to just happily go, hang on, I'm talking.
Yeah.
It's almost like us, ourselves, trying to do it. It's like, oh, wait, that's not my place to say, when actually you're the expert and they're there to listen to you.
Yes.
And you've got to make yourself heard. And as hard as it is, and I'm still trying to work on it, trying to actually sort of speak up and come back to points if I feel like I've been spoken over or maybe someone's not heard it correctly. Yeah. It's learning to just keep going and just sort of like stay with the point that you're trying to make until you're heard, isn't it? And and it will get there. But
I do think, like I say, it's so hard and no one teaches you that.
No one.
It's a different level of confidence. You can be confident in yourself and who you are and how you look and your business, but put you in a room full of, C-suite men, that's a different level of intimidation, I think.
It's so intimidating. And I think I had one experience recently, which was kind of the first time I had. It was sort of an older male CEO and he had a business with his partner, and it was one of them where I came on, I thought this would just be a nice introduction pitch, and it was the first time I've ever felt panic or sort of really nervous because this CEO went straight into talking over me and slightly finding ways to put me down before I'd even started really talking about myself or selling it. And I sort of got to the point where you kind of learn ways to think, actually, I don't think this client's going to be for me. This isn't making me feel right. And I've got the ability to turn this down if it's not for me. So I remember politely just going, I hope I've given you everything you need today, but I'm actually going to stop the meeting now. If you need any more questions from me, let me know. But I think we're done here. And they were sort of a bit like,
oh, I'm proud of you.
And they kind of jumped off the meeting after like half an hour, and it was meant to be an hour-long meeting. But I just thought,
what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? I'm trying so hard to have a direction here and give what I need to give and say what I need to say, but it just wasn't. They weren't being very sort of respectful, and I just thought, I've got a business, you've got a business. Let's have a joint respect. But if it's not there, it's not there. So
you just don't want to work with that type of person, do you? I found like you're absolutely right, and that is so brave to be able to do it though, especially so early on in like our careers. I have said to a client before, a potential client on the call, who very similarly like talking over, kind of giving me objections. Well, why would that work? How can you do this? Prove that you can do this, prove that you can do that. And I said, look, you seem to be having a lot of objections. I don't think you are actually ready to make the investment with me that you're saying you are. Is that fair? And he was like, no. And I said, I don't think you will want to work with me by the amount of objections you're throwing. So shall we just agree that right now, this probably isn't the best partnership? Yeah. And we can maybe reconvene in 6 months' time when your business is ready. And actually, it's flipping it around that because you get those, like say, and I'm service, so probably very similar questions around, well, how much do you cost? Why do you cost that? Is that per hour, per project? Show me the results, show me this, show me that. And I'm happy to send referrals, but there is a way, and to just actually be able to say, right now, and I've had it thrown back at me when I was asking someone else, and I was saying on behalf of a client, I was asking questions and they said the same. They said, actually, look, you're coming at me with a lot of objections, which to me are telling me you're not ready to make this investment. When you're ready, I don't need to prove to you that what I do works and that I'm worth the money. Your business needs to be in a position to be able to afford it. But if it's not, that is fine. Let's just call it what it is and leave.
Yeah, I think that's so good you were able to say that. And especially because it is hard. It's sort of, it's being able to say things like that and have a point and knowing that it could potentially bring a bit of conflict. And that's where I shut down sometimes when it comes to a little bit heated, or it could get, I don't know, just like you feel like they can start getting angry and stuff. I think that's where it's difficult. But I think it's the way you word things, isn't it? If you can find a way of kind of politely shutting something down, that'll sort of be your winner, because you can once you've done it once, you can then keep doing it. If there's
once you've done it and nothing happens, then you're like, oh, I can do that again.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of build up that sort of confidence and like, yay, okay. Like if it comes at me, I know exactly what to say and how to exactly approach that person, which is 100%. So hard to try and learn to do.
It is tough, 100%. I want to kind of quickly circle back because I love that you mentioned that you were working on the side as freelance, because I think at the minute, especially, I mean, my TikTok feed is probably quite biased, but it's filled with people going, oh, quit my business to do this. No, quit my job to do this business. And it's not really showing that middle ground. So I was kind of thrown into being an entrepreneur because I was made redundant twice. And I was like, I have no option. My friend gave me a job and freelance, and then they referred me, who referred me again and again, and here we are. But for most cases, and again, I lived at home with my parents at the time. I had moved out of my house home before that, so I was very lucky. But the majority of people can't afford to just quit and start a business. So how did you manage running a business alongside a full-time job?
Well, firstly, well done for you doing
Yeah.
that as well, especially going through all of that, because that's hard. So well done.
Thanks.
So it was a really difficult one because with a full-time job, and I mean, my job, I was lucky it was fully remote, but it was also a job where the workload was getting too much and I was experiencing really bad burnout. And it was getting to a point where I was sort of thinking, I don't know what to do with this job because it's not giving me enough money for the work that I'm doing as well. So the funny thing was, I think it was when I started reaching out to other freelancers and other people in digital PR, I started building up a really good network and just asking them how they do it, trying to find out what's the best route to get clients to start with. So I used LinkedIn a lot as sort of the startup, and that was one that I said, it's never going to be me. I'm not a LinkedIn person. I'm now that LinkedIn person. So I just started reaching out to people and I found really good opportunities with some agencies. So I'm not going to lie, I'd love to sit here and sugarcoat it and be like, oh, it's so, I just finished work and just did my other job, got my laptop, it's fine. It is hard work at the start. And I mean, like, I live with my boyfriend and I think he barely saw me for a few months because I literally would be in my office sort of 8 hours in the day, my normal job, and then straight after I'd then close that laptop, make myself a cup of tea,
Open your next one,
have a break, open it, the next one, and then be ready for a couple of hours in the evening. So I'd work until like 9, sometimes 10.
Jeez.
But it was a lot, and I don't recommend it in that way because it can also lead to burnout, especially if you're already quite tired. But the one thing I found was interesting was as soon as I went onto that mode work, I was actually felt a bit more energetic. I enjoyed it. I was actually working with people who respected me, and I thought, oh, do you know what? I want to do well. And it got me more motivated, thinking I'd love to just do this full time. I just need to do it full time. But it is hard with social media. I mean, I was looking at so much on TikTok of all these people like, now I'm making 10k a month and I just did that doing this. And you do generally start to pick that up and sort of internalize that and thinking, I can do that. Like it must be so easy. And then you start doing it and it's not. It's really not. And it takes a lot of work, and I think it takes a lot of patience, which I'm someone that sometimes struggle with the patient side. I just want to get stuck in and I want to do it. And I feel like if I'm
once I've made the decision,
exactly, you feel like, oh, I can do it. But it really does take time, and I really do commend anyone that is doing both on the side because trying to manage that can be a lot. But I think only take on the work that you think you can do or the amount that you can manage. Don't start overloading yourself with, say, multiple clients on top of a full-time job, because that's when you don't want your abilities to start slacking as well.
No.
So,
I think it's really difficult, especially it's different, I think, with service and product. My partner and I, we always discuss the differences between both. He thinks that service is significantly easier. And I said, in some ways it is. It's definitely cheaper to launch. But I think product's easier in that aspect because no one's waiting on you and emailing you. I get emails at all hours of the day, and I've only just literally this month decided to put office hours in. Before then, for the last 2 years, I've been working 7 a.m. till midnight. I would answer an email and then back up again at 7 a.m. the next day. And I was burnt. I was absolutely burnt. And I didn't realize because I was still going. I was still going for my runs. I was in the gym, cooking the dinners, smiling, going to parties. And I think we view burnout as this, depression almost that hits us, when actually it wasn't for me. It was the things like, I didn't forget my partner's birthday. Look, he says I forgot. I didn't.
Truly.
I just double booked his birthday.
Yeah.
But in my defense, he had like 3 birthday dinners and I double booked one of them. But I was dropping the ball on the most ridiculous things, like the keys to the house, locking the door, forgetting to eat. And it was all these really tiny things that I was forgetting to do that, forgetting I'm so on it with our doggy daycare, but getting things like that wrong. And I was like, oh my God, no, I'm actually, my skin is massively broken out. I have bags under my eyes. I'm a religious sleeper. I sleep through anything, but even my sleep started slacking. And I was like, oh no, I think I'm actually burnt. I think I'm done.
Yeah.
So I've had to take a step back. But like you say, there's this glamorized lifestyle online about, I have had one 5-figure month and it was amazing. And I was so happy.
Well done.
And thank you. But then do you still find this? I was like, oh no, I've just been lucky. Like even as you were talking, I was like, oh, I had a 5-figure month once. I need to bring that up. And I was like, oh, but I'm just lucky. Like it was just luck that it landed.
Yeah. Honestly, like it's so hard, isn't it? Again, that's sort of going back to the struggling to actually say, yay, I did it, I achieved something, like it's amazing. Yeah. It does feel like that, I think, with growing a business, because you think, wait, I've just had an amazing month and now it's gone down again. But then it's so, honestly, because I had that where like, I think November, December time was an amazing 2 months. I also had a similar thing to you where I was working so much that I was enjoying it, but I noticed I was sort of feeling more tired, sluggish. And even though I thought I'm doing an amazing job, I'm actually like bringing in a bit more money than I've ever seen. But there was this kind of thing where it's just like, yeah, I think the burnout's hitting, but I only ever thought burnout was when in a full-time job. I thought, because that's what we tend to see, isn't it? Like, especially, I just always go back to TikTok because that's the place where you see like people sort of talking about how toxic or they're not enjoying their 9 to 5, so they're burnt out. So that's why they're moving on to freelancing or starting up a business.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because that's sort of the mindset I came in with it. I thought, I'm going to be so much more happier. And you will be in parts, but there's also, there's a good with the bad. So it's sort of remembering there's always a little bit negative. But I think that similar thing, like you said, like hitting a 5-figure month is amazing. But we tend to put ourselves down the next month because we think, oh, well, we've not hit it now. And are we ever going to hit it? But it's the remembering, like, it's just up and down. It's like, as people always say, it's like a roller coaster because it does, especially in the first year. That's what I'm getting used to.
If you're a busy founder, I'm sure the struggle is exactly the same for you. That running a business, trying to hit the gym or your personal goals is exhausting. And the last thing you want to be worrying about is your perfume lasting all day. So today's episode is actually sponsored by Glazed Scents, which is a brand new business that is taking social media by storm. Glazed scents last all day, leave your skin glowing and gorgeous, and the scents are just delicious. They range from chocolate to plum, vanilla, cinnamon, and my favourite, strawberries and cream. Monet, the founder, honestly is going through her entire journey with us on her TikTok, from when her supplier stole her money to go on holiday. Unbelievable. You should check her out at glazescents.co.uk to buy her pack of sample bites or dive straight in and just buy the full sizes. The scents last all day and the fragrance is honestly edible. It's delicious. Fully recommend them, and I'm so excited to have Glazed as a sponsor of the podcast today. Do you know what? I don't think it ever stops, and I'm really sorry to break that bubble for you.
I'm going to be here like, great.
I will ever do this again in a year's time, and you'll be like, yeah, you're right, it didn't stop. I think your problems just change, and I actually saw Amy Smale talking about this. I do follow her, and I think she's amazing. I know she's getting quite a bit of a controversy at the minute, and she said, like, your problems don't go away, they just change. So whereas you might be struggling over, a £2,000 deal, it might be a £200,000 deal. It's still the same because your business is earning more and you're spending more. And I was like, do you know what? You're so right. The problems I had quite a nice, easy first year. I took on a client who, again, I was earning more than I ever thought for 2 days a week. I was going to out just anywhere. I was like, I work 2 days a week. This is brilliant. This will tide me over. And they kept me for 2 years. They've just hired in-house. But it wasn't until I thought, oh God, I've actually got to start advertising myself now. And I find it really hard I'm full. I can't take on any more clients, but I don't then market, I don't then market myself. And then if a client leaves, I go, oh my God, I need to advertise myself. And it's a really hard thing to juggle.
Yeah, so this is what I'm learning about more now. And I think I got the shock. So it's good that you're talking about it because I need to learn more on how to deal with that side of it, because I think I got cocky at the start, being honest with you. I think I got so cocky thinking, do you know what, like, I've made really good contacts. The business isn't like massive yet, but I'm getting regular work in, and I can actually pay my mortgage. I can pay my bills. Like, this is good.
Yes.
What I need. And then the past 2 to 3 months, like, sort of nobody wanted any PR work. Nobody was sort of looking to invest. And I think because a lot of businesses are obviously dealing with a lot more economic challenges, and it's just, so that I think really does affect our businesses, because we are sort of more people that come to when they've got the budget to use for us, like marketing.
Agreed.
So I had that month where I was then scrambling for the past 2 to 3 months thinking, okay, I need to really market myself, coming up with ways that I can market myself on social media, or better ways I can pitch to businesses. And it is so hard, because you kind of just sit there, don't you, thinking like, okay, when's this going to pick up? Because I'm doing everything I can. And luckily it has started to pick up now, but it's...
But it will happen again. You will have another drop.
Yeah, and I think that's what I still struggle with, trying to understand and knowing how to deal with that, is knowing, yes, we're having a good month, it will drop again, but it will pick up. And if you keep consistent with how you market yourself, then, you know, people still see your name, you're still making yourself visible. So it's hard. And
without hiring someone, I'm now at the point where, like I say, I would have to hire, but I'm not ready. I'd have to find the podcast. I listened to a podcast actually about hiring. And I also went and met someone locally. There's this woman who's just started a recruitment business, and she was helping. And she basically said at the end of it, she was like, you're not ready to hire. You don't have the right processes. You don't have the right structures. And she was, don't get me wrong, she was brutal. But actually, it's made me look back and go, no, you're right. I would have hired someone in, and I've worked for startups. I used to work as sales and marketing manager for startup companies. That's what I did. And actually, it was awful working for an entrepreneur who had no idea how to lead. It was dreadful. And she was like, you're going to be that entrepreneur. She's like, you're not ready. So then, like say, you're stuck in this, okay, well, I want to grow, but I can't hire because I'm not ready, and I don't want to mess someone else around. Where do I go? One of the biggest things that I've learned kind of over the past 6 months is, I mean, obviously I'm biased because I do emails, but your email list. So I am now working on building that and I do like free webinars about emails, because I specialize in small businesses. It's such a gap that's missing. And if you were, so some of my clients, to be completely transparent, would pay me sort of £3,000 to £6,000 a month. If I said to you, yeah, that'd be £3,000 a month, you'd be like, no way, you don't have that. It's just not achievable.
Yeah.
So, and it potentially could work for your side as well, to do, like say, the webinars, the events, the emails, little mini guides, and it's keeping in touch with these people so that when you do see a drop, you can then send out an offer that they kind of can't refuse. And that's been quite a good thing for me, keeping that CRM system hot and my lead pool almost, so that when I do struggle, I can go, yep, take a couple out now.
That's really good. And I think especially the fact you've taken time to sort of create that and create those, like a community. And that's what it is, isn't it? You've created a community for your business, and that people can come to you for things. I think, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, we're offering to help people and support their businesses. But if they don't know exactly what we do, or kind of the ways that we can support them or educate them, then they won't be coming back. So I think that's so good you've done it like that as well. It's like recently as well, I've invested in a business coach, which I never thought I would do. And that was something I was kind of scared to do, because I thought it's quite an investment. They can be quite costly.
They are costly.
It's been so good so far. I mean, I've had one session and that was positive. But one of the things that she said to me was creating sort of the ideal client list, but also keeping track of people you've been in contact with, who you've done work with, so that you can always maybe go back to them in the future, kind of have a regular check-in. Because I think that's what it is. Once you've built that relationship, it's trying to maintain it and keep it positive, and sort of always showing your face and your name to make sure that they know you're the person to come back to for specifically that service. So
Agreed.
I think that's what I need to especially do, is knowing to kind of regularly check in with past clients.
Because it's also, it may not be them, it may be that they're start talking, me and you. If you said now you need someone who does labels, I know someone. They're always in front of me. They're actually a member of the Orlune community, but because I always see them, if you said I need some merchandise, I know someone. So although you may not be in direct contact, you just never know. I used to work for the sales coach guy. work for all sorts of people.
You've got all the contacts. This is perfect, this conversation. Like, right, if you need this, I've got her. If you need this.
Honestly, that is Orlune. That was literally why when I spoke to a local grants place, I applied for a grant for some marketing funds, and they were like, why? What makes you so special? And I was like, let me tell you about my directory of people. And I was like, I naturally just gather contacts. I was like, that is what I love to do. I really enjoy networking. I enjoy doing the trade events. I find it very easy. Like, say we were at wedding fairs pitching, this girl who has a donut stand was like, oh, you know, if my email lands in your junk, let me know. And my fiance just walked off. He was like, I'll leave you to it. And I was like, let me show you. I'll just show you right now what to do. This is how you fix it. If you need any help, here's my card. I'll happily jump on an hour's free call. But that hour free call, she referred me to someone else who's now a client. I'm like,
amazing.
You just never know.
Yeah.
Who you're talking to.
This is why it literally is so important, building a network and networking. Yeah. I mean, I need to get out more to more face-to-face networking, but even just messaging other people like me, just messaging you or other businesses, business owners is so valuable because, like you said, your name gets passed around more than you think. And especially what I've found, like living in a smaller city as well, there might not be loads of people that do digital PR where I live. But I know that possibly there might be more businesses that need it, and I might be the only person in that area.
Yeah.
But they don't know that until you start chatting about it.
So whereabouts are you? So you've mentioned Nottinghamshire, so I'm also in Nottinghamshire.
We might have passed then.
We may have. Obviously, you don't have to say exactly where you live, but whereabouts are you? I'm kind of closer to Sheffield.
Yeah, so I'm in the northwest now. So I'm in Cheshire.
Oh, I don't think you're far. Yeah, I'm never eat shredded wheat. You're there. So I'm literally near Retford. I'm trying to say where I live without saying where I live.
I know.
Oh, we can talk after.
So basically close. We're close, I think. Yeah.
I think we're actually within an hour.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So we probably might have like crossed pathways. We might have even been at a networking event before.
Probably.
Yeah.
We're hosting an event actually in Worksop soon with Barclays Bank, and we're going to host loads of different little webinars and like fun activities for all the local women to come and do. So that would be cool. So I can send you the details for that.
Yes, please. That is good.
And we're going to do like, I'm thinking like maybe paint and sip, or I hate, you know, when you go to a networking event and they're like, stand up and introduce yourself. I think that's crap. Like, no one wants to do that.
I'm so glad you said this, because this is why I've put myself off going to a lot of the networking events around where I live, because they're all that. It's all get up, pitch yourself for 60 seconds, then we're going to go around the room. And I also feel like with some networking events, you don't always have the confidence. Not everyone wants to get up in front of everyone to do a massive pitch. And that's not sometimes the style. I love it when you can actually talk to people one-to-one and like get to know them on more sort of a personal level to then sort of really understand the business. I just think,
because then it flows more easy. If you're just sat doing something else, especially if you're like, loads of research has been done, if you're doing something in your hands, it calms you, especially in that kind of situation. So I kind of had the plan is to have long tables all decorated nicely, and you're sat either, I think maybe like little vision boards or maybe like little mugs, candles, something that says what you do without saying it. So when someone sits next to you, you're chatting away and you go, oh, what's that? And you can go, oh, well, this is what I do. And so natural.
I love that, because that's what sort of I was trying to think of more events I'd love to see around where I live like that. Because eventually I'd love to start putting on my own networking events and trying to do a bit more event side. Because I do think it's fun, isn't it? Like, it can be stressful putting it together. But
oh my God, yeah, it's horrible.
It's the like panic, isn't it? And like hoping it goes well. But I think stuff like that, you know, like paint and sip, like you said, everyone wants something more fun. They don't just want to go in and see a presentation about numbers and sales. Everyone wants a way that it can be more fun.
And I think that breaks down that really uncomfortableness to be, you know, I've been to networking events and you go, oh, hi, who are you? I'm Harriet. I do this, blah, blah, blah. And people really struggle with that. Like, I do help as many girls as I can with coaching about how to network. And how to kind of answer those key questions. Not everyone thrives like that, but it doesn't mean you're not good at what you do just because you don't have the confidence to stand up and say, hi, I'm the best at X, Y, and Z. So we should definitely, we could do a joint event.
We fully could. That would actually be so fun.
I love that.
Especially if you've already got experience of like managing, finding fun events. We could come together, put our creative minds together and do a fun, especially for female founders. I think that's such a cool
Agreed.
To do, and meet with like-minded people as well. I think that would be so cool. I'm excited now. Like, right, paint and sip every day. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's so easy, and I thought like if we didn't do something different each time, and then people have something to take away, and it's just nice. It's also very Instagrammable, which is obviously good for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like especially with, I love how networking people sort of more bringing like health and wellness types into it. So I've seen a lot of like yoga in the park and then moving into more breath work, sort of
Like Pilates and Profit, that's one. I want to do one of those, but I don't know. I'd love to do one of my own, but I don't want to copy it. So I think I might just go to one and support her.
and then get an idea.
Yeah, and then maybe chat to her and see if maybe she wants to do one together, because I feel like it's really hard. You don't want to copy, but you've kind of been inspired. Do you know what I mean? It's hard.
It's hard, but that would be so cool. There's so many options you can do.
So many.
That's exciting.
We'll do it.
Like,
done.
Oh.
You heard it here first.
A little exclusive for you.
There you go. So I'd love to kind of dive a little bit into what you actually do in terms of digital PR. If say, for example, we're jumping on a call and I say, I don't know, try not to say what I actually do, because that's not really fair. I feel like it's giving out free advice. I'm a service-based business. We'll try and keep it kind of fairly neutral, but I don't really know where to start. Where would you go with that? What are the key things that I might be doing wrong that you would maybe change? What's your process for taking on a new client?
Yeah, so a lot of the time, especially if it's small businesses, they tend to have not done PR before. So the first thing we like to do is look in and do a competitor analysis. So I'd instantly want to look in, what's one of your biggest competitors? Where are they being covered? What publications keep picking up what they're putting out there? Also, what story angles are they using? That's clearly attracting journalist attention. Because a lot of the mistakes I tend to see with a lot of small business owners especially. So I had one call with one person before who tried to do PR herself, and what she did, she just did one press release and just tried to send that out to as many journalists as she could find. So the problem with that is, in her press release, she was trying to sell her business to the journalists, which you might think, oh, well, that's what you need to do. You need to sell your business, you need to sell your product. When actually, sadly, the journalist doesn't necessarily care exactly what you're selling, because they want to know what story can you give them. So as a business owner, it's amazing that you might be selling houses, it's just an example, but what exactly can you offer? What's relevant to what's happening in the news right now that you could comment on? What news hook can you give that they think, oh yeah, this is what's happening in my industry, that you can offer value. So it's trying to find ways to be relevant to the journalists and what's happening in the media. Because if you don't have that, then the journalist has to work 10 times harder to find a story to try and match your business with, which they don't want to do that. They've not got the time to do that either. No. So you've kind of got to make it easier for them. And another thing I think I find a lot of businesses is they kind of go in and think PR is just one time and that's that. So they just think you just do one press release and then that's it. When actually you could do one press release, send it off and think it's going to get picked up, and then you won't see any media coverage. And I think that's where a lot of business owners start to think, oh, wait, this isn't working for me. Why am I not being picked up? But it can take time. Like PR can take months, can take a year till you really start to see a bit more visibility to your name and your brand. So that's always the things I try and sort of talk to potential clients about, and seeing what their competitors are doing, so they can kind of see what is working as a news hook. Because I think it's so easy, isn't it? When you've worked in the industry for a while, you know what works, but the actual client in their own industry might be not as clued up in it yet and not aware. So it's sort of just more educating, doing a bit of consultancy with them first before going in with a full-blown strategy and reaching out to journalists. So
That's so interesting. I definitely would have done that. I would have just sent one thing out and trying to pitch what I do, thinking that what I do is the story.
It's, I feel like it's one of those things, because you're so passionate about your business and you want everyone to know about it. I don't blame people for going straight out and being like, right, I'm going to tell this journalist what I do and everything. And to be honest, sometimes it could bring something good with it. Sometimes if you send an introduction email to yourself and about your business, you might get that journalist coming back to you going, oh, actually, I'm working on this. Do you think you could comment on this? Which is great. But I also find that some of the clients I've worked with, when they've tried to do it themselves, I think because they're so passionate, they have so much to say that they sort of go on for a bit too long in their email and they say too much. And I think that's why, obviously, being biased, but I think why it's so valuable to invest in PR professional, PR specialist, is because we know the ways to sort of concise the pitch down, make it tailored to specific journalists, but also make sure you're tapping into what's happening in the news and being timely. And
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so it's all about finding the right moment. So if you've got the right time, the right pitch, you could make really good contacts with the media, which is the aim of the game, is to sort of try
Okay.
and get those contacts and get links as well to your
Yeah.
website.
And is online the best way, or are there events that you could go to kind of get either coverage or those contacts if you were doing it on your own?
So I think, to be honest, nowadays I think it's more online is building
Yeah.
contacts. I think, unfortunately, not that I know of anyway, personally, of more events where you can mix and meet with journalists. I think it's so much harder now, especially because a lot of publications, there are less journalists around compared to PRs. So it is getting a bit harder for PRs to sort of gain coverage as well, because we're dealing with a lot of publications have made redundancies as well to a lot of journalists. So it's harder, I feel like, now to get coverage and to get sort of conversations going and to actually make contacts with journalists. But I do know some PRs that still ring journalists, will try and make phone calls, and they find that more valuable so they can get conversations going. But it is harder now. And I think I'd love to find ways to get out there and actually speak to journalists. And if there is more events, would be amazing. It's just, I think it's just harder. People are more time stretched, and
Yeah.
it's
And
a
people
lot
don't want to
more.
leave the house.
Yeah, people, I mean, sometimes I don't, and it's really
No.
bad. I've got so used to just being glued to my laptop inside in the warmth that I think I could just do this all from home. But I think,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I feel like that's where I've stopped myself, and I find that it's a problem because I'm not actually getting out as much as I probably should be, or networking as well.
Yeah. I agree. And I do truly, like you say, it may come across biased, but I do truly believe that your value of your business is in your network. You
Yeah.
can't do it alone. You never will be able to.
Definitely not. I mean, especially, I don't know about you, but it's ever since going freelance, I've joined so many different freelance channels. So, like
Yeah.
WhatsApp, on Slack. Honestly, any problem I've had, I just go straight into those, and I can either ask myself or find someone that's dealing with the exact same problem. And then you get advice straight away from multiple
Yeah.
people in the industry. And you just think, this is so cool. The fact that you have that right at your fingertips,
It's just so available these
so
days.
available. And it's just like,
Yeah.
especially if I just quickly want to text another freelancer, I think, oh, I'm not sure, you've spoke about this, what do you think? And they're just, everyone's so happy to help, which
Yeah.
makes it easier, doesn't it? As a business owner, you think, okay, I'm not the only one that's dealing with a late payment, I'm not the only one that's
No.
dealing with this. You're like, breathe.
It's not you. The
Yeah,
world is not against you.
exactly.
It's against all of us.
Yeah, literally. I think that's when you're like, okay, realization hits. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard for everyone.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big reasons, I do get asked regularly why I didn't make Orlune specific to email marketing.
Yeah.
I was like, because that already exists. And actually what doesn't exist is so much the option to just message and go, guys, I actually just feel really rubbish today and I want to quit, and have a load of people go, no, 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 like, let's talk this through. And, we had, if you don't know if you've heard of the purple cow theory,
No.
which it's more of a social media thing, but basically if you drive down the road and you see a black and white cow, brown and white cow, you don't give it a second look, do you? It's a cow.
Yeah.
But if you're driving down the road and saw a purple cow, you give it a second look and pay it some attention. So on social media, you want to get a purple cow, you want to create a purple cow so people stop and look. So I posted that into the group a couple of days ago and said, right guys, come on, let's all come up with a purple cow for each other. So we had, I think there were about 16 businesses that got involved in it, 16 girls, and each of us all tried to come up with a purple cow for each business. So now there's 16 businesses out there, all with completely different niches, all ready to post their purple cow. And you wouldn't get that if you're all in the same industry, because although you might think out the box, you can't all produce something out of the box for one industry. Whereas actually we have a chocolatier, we have a perfumery, we have therapists, obviously me, there's all sorts. So there was the ability to get all these different brain waves in one place, which for me, I think is more valuable for that style.
Yeah, that's so cool as well. And again, that's amazing that you have everyone so able to sort of show off what they can do and the knowledge that they have, and show how everyone's so different and how there is value in each and every business, isn't it? It's showing ways to just stand out.
And you just don't know what pocket of knowledge someone else has. Like I had a little white line I couldn't get rid of on Shopify. So I asked in there, I was like, has anyone had this? And someone was like, yes, I've got it, I can show you.
Yeah.
Whereas imagine how much that would have cost to consult somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is stuff like that, isn't it? That things that is so simple to someone else but not to you,
Yeah.
you realise you can literally just ask, and it's not embarrassing to ask. It's so much more encouraged when you're starting up a business to just go, I actually don't know how to do this. Social media's been my thing, that I've just been going to freelance social media people like, can you help me? I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to edit this. Is this working? What is the algorithm? I just go straight to them like, I have no idea. And people are just so good at helping, and we're all in it together. It's just,
there's enough people out there for all of us to have clients.
Yeah, exactly. It's just finding the right way to sort of attract those clients, isn't it? And finding the right ways to reach out to them, and learning how to do that is another story.
It's half the battle. It is.
Yeah. Another story, another life.
Literally. Well, I'd love to round up with, I do feel like we could just go on for hours, but we will try and keep this short and sweet. I'd love to round up with the same 2 questions I ask everybody. Now, obviously, I've not sent these to you. You are not prepared. One is super easy. One is a little bit more thought-provoking, but hopefully not too difficult. So would you prefer the easy or the hard first?
Let's go with the hard one first. I'll try that.
First. Okay. What is one thing that you don't currently know that you wish you knew, that maybe someone had told you before, or just a skill that you don't have that maybe you might be a little bit embarrassed to admit, but actually you shouldn't be, because none of us know everything?
Okay, that's a good question. I think, just from especially what we've been talking about earlier, I think one skill I would love to have and have training on even is the skill of having assertiveness and being assertive. I think that is so valuable to have just in life in general, but I think with running a business, that's something that I want to have more in conversations with people, to have that confidence to know what I'm saying. I know that I'm an expert in my field, and it's having that kind of sort of confidence to say when something's not working, or if I don't want to take on work, any a certain amount of work, I'm ready to say no. I think it's being confident and comfortable in being assertive when I know it's my right to, and just saying, no, I'm not doing that, I can't do that. So I would love to gain confidence in being assertive, and I think
that's so good.
Yeah, I just feel like once you have it, and I know it takes time to grow, but
once you've got it, you've got it.
You've got it, and you know how to act in any situation.
Yeah. It comes a bit power trippy. Once you've got it and you've done it once and it's gone well, you're like, ooh, that was fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's my issue. I've like, as long as I can control myself with it and I don't just go on and say like, no, we're done. And just go.
Excuse you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ending it now. Thank you. A bit like Samantha Jones. I mean, I won't be that far, but like that is
I love that.
I feel like would love
Maybe
it.
We need to find someone who like the modern day Samantha Jones, because that is absolutely the vibe.
It is the vibe. Listen, this is why we're in PR. Samantha Jones started it, and then we're all following.
Yes.
That's our goal.
I love it. No, I love that. So the final question is, I give you a call and I say, I'm stopping by my local coffee shop. What am I bringing you?
Ooh, what drink would it be? I think my go-to at the minute, I know it's so classic and so cliche, very Gen Z, but it's going to have to be an oat matcha latte.
Shot on with you.
With a shot of vanilla syrup.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think it's so cliche, but once you have it, can't get enough of it. That's what I'm
more of a coconut milk with strawberry in the matcha.
Ooh, so someone told me to try a coconut milk one. It wasn't for me, but I can see why sort of it goes together. Nice creamy.
With on its own, I'm not a fan. I'm like a semi-skimmed milk kind of gal, but with the strawberry, it almost goes a bit pina colada-y.
Oh, okay. I could definitely have that. I feel like I would like that.
Dunkin' Donut does an amazing one.
So strawberry coconut matcha.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I need to try that and a blueberry matcha as well. I've heard a lot about blueberry one.
Yeah, I've not had the blueberry. I have the Blank Street strawberries. That's the strawberry I use. I use the Blank Street strawberry and the Blank Street matcha, but I don't have the blueberry. I feel like I should try it before I buy like a whole, like 2 litres syrup.
Yeah, that was my thing. I keep looking on Amazon thinking, right, what can I buy? Like all these different syrups. And then I'm thinking, I've not even tried it. And I'm here about to spend about 40 quid on one bottle of syrup.
Why are they so expensive?
It's so expensive. And I'm just there ready to literally give my soul away to syrups for matcha.
Yeah.
I think.
Literally.
The marketing is amazing for that. I just think
honestly, I like it. Sometimes I feel like when I'm like so influenced to buy something, I'm like, well, damn, they got me.
Yeah, capitalism works.
like hair syrup. I've never really been a hair person. I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm sold. I've bought everything. I'm not gonna lie, my hair is growing like weed. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
But I'm like, damn, the girl's got me. Like, I'm sold. I have been marketed to.
Honestly, that's when I see some of them and I think these are some really good campaigns, because it's even like with certain curly hair brands, I'm always looking for the next thing, and I will just go for the first one that I think, oh my god, they've marketed that so well. They're tall.
Yeah, I'm like, do you know what? You deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I sent out a press release today. It's time to buy myself something. I'm like, definitely.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm like, if someone's marketed something to me,
yeah,
but say like I'm subscribed to the email list, I'll always buy it through the email, just so whoever the email marketer was, like, gets the kudos for the points. Like when I bought my old Muse dress, I went into their email, bought it from there straight to the website, just so I was like, I want to give them the props that are due.
Do you know what? Good for you. Making sure
Doing God's work.
Yeah, making sure everyone wins here. No one get left behind. Like, it's
No.
a winner. I need to start doing that. I mean, I need to sort of hold myself back with some stuff I'm buying, but honestly, that's the way to do it.
It's a bit of a problem sometimes.
God, there's just too many like good things like trending at the minute that's making me want to buy.
Do you know, I went into Boots and it has like the as seen on TikTok, and I was like, don't look, don't look, don't do it, because I'm a sucker.
Just seeing that has you hooked, isn't it? You think, oh my god, I paid to buy chocolate, let's go, where is it?
Honestly, so like I'm book girly, but I'm like a Kindle book girly. I'm converted, and I went into a bookshop and it was like as seen on TikTok, and I was like, I can't look, because that for me is enough to make me buy it.
Was it A Court of Thorn and Roses?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I've been there, I'm through it.
Wing.
Love it, I am hooked.
Do you know what? I'm halfway through the first one of Akatar.
Okay, yeah.
And like, it's fine. I'm not getting it.
You're not hooked yet?
No, but I think I've read it like intermittently. I think I need to just sit and finish it.
Yeah, one of my friends said the exact same thing, because I was like, you have to read it, the first bit, you're going to love it. And she was like, it's kind of boring, I'm not really hooked yet. And I said, no, keep reading, until she got to the second one. She was like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get it now.
I am going to finish it, and then I'm going to do the fourth wing. Okay. But yeah, I'm not like, if all the books like disappeared off the planet, I wouldn't be heartbroken.
Yeah, I can see that from the first one. That's like hard to get into, but I promise you, I mean, I say this to everyone, I've even got the hairdresser into it. I'm like, please just stay with it, because I never thought I was a fantasy girl until I started reading onto the second book. It's just amazing. I love it. Okay. Yeah. I'll stick with it. I'll pop you a message. Yeah. Just like, okay, I'm now on book 5. Yeah, I'm done. I wish I had that much spare time. Yeah. Honestly, that's it, isn't it? It's like... That's the problem. As soon as I find a good book, I'm like, okay, we'll just sit in the afternoon and read this then. All good. Yeah, Ollie comes upstairs. He's like, do you mind if I go upstairs into the office and use the office for a bit? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Book. And he comes down 4 hours later, and I'm like, oh, hi. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, just falling in love with my fairy boyfriend here, but that's fine. You're nothing on him. The poor guy. Anywho, before we go totally off, it has been amazing to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for having us. I've loved it. Let me just... We did so well. Just stop. It's like they knew the end. We were so close. Where was I? I'll just saying goodbye. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, it's been amazing. I've really enjoyed speaking to you, and just thank you for opening up and being really honest. I think that's really often missing in the female founders kind of circle. You know, we see a lot of women who are at Soho House and who are millionaires, or at least on their way, and it's really nice to be able to speak to people at the start of their journey and just being honest about what that's like. So I do really appreciate your time. Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on and letting me speak all about everything and anything. So thank you. I've enjoyed it. No, you are more than welcome. But for now, and until next time, we will see you soon. Bye. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to Orlune Off the Course, the space where women building businesses don't do it alone. If you loved today's episode, make sure to hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a fellow founder who needs to hear this. I'm Hatty, and I'll see you next time.